Two. Yo, you are now tuned in to another edition of the 3% Show, where I tell people my motto is people will tell you 97% of their truth, and that's very admirable. But the 3% unspoken holds power in your life. It can guide you, it can take you to the bottom of the bottom, or it can be everything that you strive for every day. Today, I am proud to present somebody that I've been checking out for a while. Been following his story for I believe maybe over 3 to 4 years. I actually caught up with him one time when I was in the city. But man, this dude named Jay Davis, and when I was on Messenger back in the day, I'm like, who is this Jay Davis dude? Like, people are confusing me, and I was getting confused. So I would just like to give this gentleman his flowers. Mr. Let's Go when the Chiefs game is on. I know every touchdown he's going to be on there with the big screen behind him, yelling boisterous. Mr. Jay Davis, how you doing today, brother?
Pretty good, man. How you doing?
Oh, life's a beautiful struggle. Like I said, I'm just living it, man. I really appreciate you for even taking the time to come on the show, because I know that you're always busy with family, with your own grind and more. For those who don't know, he's the founder of SelfMadeGear and Pink Dove Collection. And for me, I'm always down to support somebody from the town, no matter how far I am in Houston, Texas, or even when I'm in the city. But just to get a little bit of background about yourself, just tell us who you are, brother. You got the floor, because this is appreciation for you.
All right, I got you, man. I go by Jay Davis, but my real name is Jermale Davis. I'm from Kansas City, Kansas, Wyandotte County, the dot.
You know,
born and raised, man. And I learned a lot down there, and it helped me adjust to who I am, and it helped, shake it up so that I can start living in a positive way. I never been too far back down in there, but I got a lot to tell. So, you know what I'm saying? Just so I can reach people in a positive way. That's my whole mission. That's my whole drive. And I'm going to do it one shirt at a time, or whatever I got to do to promote on social media and then throughout the city.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing I like about you is not only do you walk in positively, but your family is a blessing. I see the way your wife supports you. I see the energy that you pour into your kids. And for me, it's not a Black male thing, or it's not necessarily a Black woman thing. It's a Black community thing, because you don't see too many prosperous families striving, pushing each other sometimes in the limelight in the manner that you do. So right. I appreciate that. So you originally are from Wyandotte County, right?
Yep.
Okay, what area did you grow up in? Well, let's get them numbers out. Where you from, homie?
I grew up on First Street, actually, in the projects. I grew up, born and raised right in front of the basketball court, right, 114 New Jersey. And I lived on First and lived on Third in Richmond, and then we moved from there when I was like 12, and then we moved out to Crestwood Apartments on 57th and Parallel.
Okay. That seems like where that civilized balance started. When you get by the Hardee's and Coronado area and push out, that's where you get civilized. That's where you get the good grocery stores, everybody at the Apple Market and stuff like that.
Right, yeah. Right. Back then it was just Chaz Balls when I was younger.
Chaz Balls, for real. The best thing you got popping is Go Chicken Go when you want something hot.
I'm telling you,
7th Street. You gotta go to 7th Street.
Yes, sir.
So tell me something a little bit about yourself. I see that you are doing positive things in the city. I love your clothing brand. I love that you have the character to promote it, but I love the fact that you have the audacity to believe in your brand and what you're doing and live up to what you say. Rick Ross said something like, I forgot the quote I put up yesterday, but you're a stand-up kind of person, and I dig that. And I can tell by the friends list and the people that you're around, they believe in you. Have you always had something to say as a young person, or did it derive just from looking at your community, from where you've been to where you are now? What made you come up with the concept for your clothing line?
What made me come with the concept is when I got in trouble as a kid. I was 14 and I was facing manslaughter. Believe it or not, really? I was facing manslaughter. Yeah, I was 14 and I got into some trouble. Coronado, coming from Coronado, I got into some trouble there. I got kicked out of whole USD 500, and then I got into some trouble for it. I mean, it was pretty deep. So I was facing manslaughter. And as I was sitting there and they kind of told me what I was facing, my whole motto, I was sitting there like, because of the thing I done, it wasn't worth it. You know what I'm saying? I was just keeping up with the hype and being myself at the same time, but I was just kind of hot-headed. I didn't take know too much from people. It was like I knew what I should do and I knew what I shouldn't do. But then
Right.
at the time, you know, growing up in the city, it's kind of like you got to stand your ground. You couldn't just be, oh, just a pushover, nothing like that. So I made some bad decisions that, you know what I'm saying, that I regret. But at the same time, it built my character and it helped me focus on what I need to focus on, which is think first, react second. That's my motto, TFR2. Think first, react second. And that kind of that. So ever since that day when I was 14, I've been steering towards that. And what got me going to want to put it on to try to promote it in the brand is a family member of mine had started a clothing line, and I was thinking of a way to try to reach out to people in a way before social media, because I didn't want to use social media. I didn't care about social media. I wasn't trying to do that. But then I started hearing about it and I started seeing people talking about it. And then I said, hey, this is a way I can reach more people instead of just standing outside. Because nowadays, you know, it's different with social media. Standing outside promoting is totally different compared to now. So I was like, let me use this platform to reach as many people that I can with the positive message, not just the clothing line, just my actions in general. You know what I'm saying? And I don't try to put everything I do on there, because a lot of people say, oh man, it's because you want to get popular. I'm like, I don't do that. And I don't think about, if I do this, what they gonna say or what they not. It's not that. Everything I put on there is coming from the conscience and the heart. So I might not post a video every day. I might not post a video every week, but when they come to my heart and my conscience, that's when you see videos. That's why I be so random. So it's not like, oh, every day I got to put content. I got it. It's not about that. My whole message is if I can reach a handful of people before I go, man, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
And
you know
that's
what I'm saying? And I started with my kids, and every kid that I come across, I brought on kids that's not my kids, step kids, friends' kids, you know what I'm saying? So I do whatever I can. I just don't put everything on social media. I try not to do that, but certain stuff I do it because that's coming from the heart that I think I need to do it. So when I wake up in the morning, you see my videos, hey, have a good day, that's just natural. It's not like, oh, today I need to say something. I haven't said nothing in a while. Nah, I don't believe in that.
And I
don't
believe
believe in
that's
that. But that's
I believe that's the way it should be, because like I said, some people do this for whatever reason they have. I'm not going to say it's for clout or whatever. You know, it is a platform that people can use at any given time. But the thing I like about you is that you do it for real. And that's the thing that made me want to bring you on the show. That's why I was like, man, I literally been looking for you. It was like, where is he at? I couldn't find you on my thing.
We almost got the same name. So
that's what I'm saying. So and that's what intrigued me. Like I said, when you first started, I can't fit the shirt I had. I've been eating like a mug. But you know, for those who don't understand, like I didn't, you know, the things that he's talking about was unscripted. I didn't even know. And that's why I said I bring people on the show for them to speak their truth, for them to be as transparent as possible if they would like, and to also use this platform for you, because I believe you deserve roses for doing something positive in the community in the stature and the way that you're doing. I was able to meet his wife one time when I went up to meet up with him. I think it was on Shawnee Mission Parkway in front of the AMC Theater just to get the shirt. His wife was down. She was taking the pictures. And to me, that meant a lot, because I know that what he's doing is truly goal-oriented, family-oriented, and for the good. If you can, so judging from the situation that happened that I didn't know about, how did life change for you? You're now at that age of high school, going into the future. Give us a little bit about what's happened over the course of your life and what's getting your mind to click as you start to progress and grow as a man.
Man, what really got that rolling is after all that happened, I was 14. And then, I mean, a random day out the blue, my mom asked me to stay home from school one day on the way to school. She asked me to stay home, and we went to Chaz Ball's. And on the way back from Chaz Ball's, we stopped in our apartment complex. Like I said, I live in Crestwood. We stopped in our apartment complex, and my mom sat down. I went in the apartment, and my mom sat down and was talking to our neighbor. And all I heard was her screaming. Well, my neighbor screaming. And so I goes out there, and she was sitting there. She passed away right there.
Wow.
Yeah, she passed away right there. I was 16 on my way to school, and she told me to stay home for her for that day. And I stayed home, and she passed away right there on the stairs inside of Crestwood. 2023 apartment H. That's why I stayed. And she sat right there down the hall on the stairs, and she looked up in the ceiling and put a big smile on her face, and she passed away right there. Damn. And ever since then, man, it just been like to focus on life and then adjust to understand that it's so precious. It can go at any minute. I mean, we can go any second, any time. And then once all that happened, man, it's a lot that inspired. Like from that point, I got into some trouble. I went homeless for 30 days. I stayed on 11th and Parkwood, inside an abandoned house on 11th and Parkwood for like about 30 days. And then after I stayed there, I stayed inside of a 4-door box Chevy for another 30 days.
Yeah.
Right after all this happened, man, I was homeless for about a month. I mean, I worked full time. I still, on summer when I was out of school, I worked the whole time at Pizza Hut just so I can stay out of trouble. Soon as I came out here, I moved out here with a family member, stayed out here for a while while school was in, went back to Wyandotte. Within 2 weeks, I was in a shootout. I was getting shot at and I was shooting at people. Then I got in some fights, got jumped. Yeah, it was a whole lot that kind of happened within 2 weeks of just going back to Wyandotte after being away from Wyandotte for about 2 or 3 months. And then it's like, I ain't never been like that popular, like, oh, this the street dude. Nah, it was just, we was young. So everything was school related. Like they knew me from school. We'll get them up, we'll fight or whatever. But then as I started maturing, you know, it's bigger than a fight now. Now it's guns. Now there's, you know what I mean? Now there's more stuff to come along with it. And then it's like, I just adapted to it and understood it. But I was like, I still, after so long, I'm like, I know that ain't my lane. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad I walked away. I walked away from getting shot at. It's a lot of stuff that happened. That kind of steered me to say, man, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. So then after that happened, man, after I got through most of that, I moved to Johnson County and I moved in with my brother. And then he was my guardian at the time. And I was like, I refused. I said, still trying to adjust to my mom passing. No legal guardian besides my brother. He was maybe 23, 24. So it's kind of like I was on my own.
Both are grieving too, probably at this point too.
Yeah.
So it seems like everything is moving at a rapid race.
Yeah, it was moving so fast. So as it was going, man, it was just like I wasn't all over the place. It was just like I knew what I had to do, which is the first thing was graduate. No matter what, I was always like, even if I get on the wrong track, I'm graduating. So went out to Shawnee Mission Northwest. I was playing basketball, trying to play basketball and football, but then all the stuff started happening, and here come the homeless again. So then I'm like, I had to pay
high school by any chance?
In 2000.
Okay, so you was out there. Rashad Alakda, I think, I forgot which school you went to, and Chad and all them was out there. Chad.
Yeah, I went with Joe Webb.
Oh, okay.
All of them down the street. Yeah. And then see, I was supposed to graduate in '99, but I got kicked out of the whole KCK school district.
Yeah. Okay.
In 7th grade. Yeah, in 7th grade. So they kicked me out of the whole Wyandotte County. So I couldn't go back to school till the next year. So then after that, man, that's why I said after that, it was so much that, and people say like, oh man, that's crazy. But I'm like, I'm glad it kind of happened because it helped me build my character. Because if my mom was here, I still would have been reckless, or I would have been in trouble, or I would have hurt somebody, or somebody would have hurt me. You know what I'm saying? Just because of the environment I was in. And like I said, I wasn't in the craziest environment. I was in situations.
Well, I mean,
I was in situations.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I think when I was at Washington, you know, everybody thought I was a good kid, which is cool. And it's so funny when people used to talk to me. I'm like, I know some of the biggest dope dealers in the world. I know in the South. I know some of the foulest people. I know some of the nicest people. And I think for me, what happened was around the time, Cornetto time, when people were smoking wet. When wet hit in middle school, it changed everything. People committed suicide, and I know it still affects other friends and more. And for me, it was when Moochie was murdered. And I was just
I know.
Yeah, that was like my bro. When that happened at Washington, people did not understand, and I didn't even understand. I was like, I have to go. And that's when I made the move to Leavenworth. And I love the dot with all my heart, and I was supposed to play ball and all, but it was in me to go. And my great friend of mine, one of the calmest spirits, Willie Washington, he drove me out to Leavenworth. I spent a year out there, and I kind of never looked back. Even when I came home, it was like my mind state was, I don't belong in the city at this point. So I started traveling, getting away. So it's so interesting to see that you went through all this and still have the positivity. And I appreciate you being honest about your thing. So I'm going to fast forward and touch on a few things here. Number one, just tell us a little bit, if you want to, about the background of your family. How'd you meet your wonderful wife? I see your kid. I mean, your daughter was rolling out. You know what I'm saying? I see the track things going on. So.
Yeah, she's a runner.
How did these ladies in your life and family when you had that, was it a nervous kind of feel when that responsibility came, or when it came for you to make that decision saying, okay, this is my wife, this is her? How did that happen for you?
Now, it wasn't hard, man, because like I said, my life was kind of fast. It wasn't as fast as a lot of people. When people think fast, they think I've been all in the streets so deep. I wasn't that deep in the streets. My family was tight. My family was pretty close until my mom passed. When my mom passed, everybody kind of like, you know how you got that link that keeps everybody together at some point. And it's like after she passed, everybody kind of just start living, but kind of living separate. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
and then man, when I turned all the little stuff that I went through from 10 up to my mom passing until me graduating high school, by the time I was 20, I was like, I'm ready to get married. I'm ready to get married and have a family, do stuff that I never could do. We never had a house, never had none of this, man. I was just ready. I was like, I'm ready to do something so I can leave something for my kids. I want to build a dynasty. The stuff that I seen in a little bit of time and the people I met in Johnson County, because everybody that, you know what I mean, where I came from, I never lived in an apartment. I always lived in an apartment. Right. Didn't know how to cut grass. I didn't know none of this. Never had a man in my household.
Yo, I used to love cutting my grandma's grass on 10th Street, coming from the projects. I was like out there sweating, talking about this is cool. Anytime I use power tools, I was like, okay, where's it at? Let me use it. That's real skill.
Never had that. Never had the structure of a man and use the word dad. Never had that. So it's like, man, I refuse to let my generation that I create be the same way. And I'm like, everything that I didn't get from a father figure, my mama was my mom and my dad. So I said, you know what? I got to make sure I hold it down. Yeah. If I decide and when I decide to have kids, I'm going to be there. I'm going to hold it down unless it's other plans for me. You know what I mean? Other than that, but I'm like, I'm going to be there. So, man, I told myself 20, I was like, I'm ready to get married. And I was like, man, I'm not settling for just a girlfriend. No, I'm not doing that. I'm already in my head mature enough. I'm like, I'm ready to settle down, create a family, and start really living life, man. So I used to skate all the time. Every Sunday, Thursday, I still skate.
Skate land. I know it got to be skate land.
I'm telling you, Woodwind, 103rd, 78. I used to be all over the town skating, but I met my wife at the skating rink in Woodwind up north. And I was up there, man. I skated. Like I said, I went just to enjoy it. Just skating and everybody, hanging out with everybody. I never went to meet nobody. Right. I never was like, I'm going to go find me somebody. I never went to flirt with nobody. I wasn't into that. I was like, I'm ready to find a wife. That's it. If it ain't no wife, I'm not doing it. So then, man, I went for a couple weeks. And then we kind of caught eyes. And then she came up to me. And then I was like, I ain't ready for no relationship. I want a wife. I want a family. And she was like, I want the same thing.
Come on, Dave like, Hollister. Okay. Sound like a Dave Hollister song, for real.
Right. Right. Yeah,
hey,
so
I mean, so once skate? Tell me you did the couple skate.
Yeah. At the time, she couldn't. She couldn't really skate at the time. But I was still rolling. So I'm like, man, we kind of exchanged numbers and then we talked and then kind of exchanged our lives, our past and everything. And then we made it official. And we made it official. That was one of the best moves I made. You know what I mean? To kind of settle down and get everything structured, man. And so it been good, man. So that tightened up. And then after that, I was like, I'm ready to have a family, ready to create a family and then build a house, man. So we bought us a house when I was 24, and we've been rolling ever since, man, since 2005.
Absolutely. So let me inquire about this because I think it's important to not only see a person's brand, but understand the mind state. So for the business wise, some people are just naturally gifted with knowing numbers and knowing how to save and credit and all. Was it something did you learn as you went as far as creating your business, as far as the cause and effect of how much things would cost, or to even just get the LLC? Because you always hear people say to be a rapper, you just need to write a letter and then you can do a poor man's copyright for things. So how did you go about creating your business savvy as far as that portion where nobody can take your name, nobody can take credit for things, and you continue to grow with it?
Man, as weird as this might sound, I had no clue. I had an ATV accident where I ripped my foot off about 97%. Damn. I ripped my right foot off, 97% off. And I always said, I'm gonna start a brand. So I kept saying it. And when I had my ATV accident in 2014, I didn't have nothing else to do. I sat in the bed for 3 months. I was out of work for 6 months, and I couldn't stand up for about 4 or 5 months. So I was like, maybe this is the reason. This is something, you know what I mean? God telling me, hey, sit down. This is what you need to do. So I sat still and I watched The Walking Dead, the show, every single day.
If Daryl died, we all die. That's the motto.
I'm telling you, every single day. And when I was sitting there, I'm like, man, I can start working on the brand. And then it was just kind of like, I didn't know what I was doing, didn't know the first thing to doing. My first design was on Microsoft Paint.
Come on, Microsoft Paint. It's hard to use it. It's sketchy. It's sketchy when you first start.
It was sketchy. Had no clue, didn't know what I was doing, didn't know who to call. I got on Google. I even reached out to people. They wouldn't even help me. Some locals, family members, you know what I mean? People that I knew. They wouldn't give me none. They wanted me to come work for them instead of helping me. So I was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna just figure it out. So I got on Google, done all the research, and just started going. And I started going and started tapping in. And then I was like laying in my bed, and I was like, man, I need to make these sales. So I had people, I was printing them up, heat pressing at the time. So I was heat pressing them at the time. And then I got too busy. So I couldn't heat press and keep up with everybody's demand. So I was like, now I got to start reaching out to print companies so that they can print it and then I can have it ready. So it started picking up from there. And you know what I mean? And then I was like, that's my message. That's my whole drive, is to put my message and then random, you know what I mean, content on t-shirts. Because people be like, you don't do art. I'm like, I like to do art, but I like mine is about message. I want to put something positive out. You know what I mean? Even just to get recognized, a positive message. It's not about, oh, how much revenue I can bring in. Because if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. It's gonna sell no matter if it's good, it's good. So I never been big on, hey, I gotta make the best. I just put out what comes to me at the time in my heart and just be like, man, let it ride. So if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If it's not, it's not. But my main message is my main goal is the message.
Well, I think the message is truly getting out there, because I see people giving you your kudos all the time. Tell us about some of the things that have occurred from your message. I remember seeing you on television. I remember seeing somebody wearing your joint with Patrick Mahomes and all of them on the field. So tell us what has transpired since you started, about some of your high points that you feel like, hey, this is it's kind of, my niche is kind of happening. When did you feel like the breakthrough was actually kind of happening for you?
The breakthrough, I really didn't feel it. Like, I still just be like, I just kind of be humble about it. It's not that I'm trying to be. I just be like, well, I'm just the average guy. I'm not like, oh, I'm getting popular. Nah, I don't notice that. I don't pay attention to that. But when Nick Vassos reached out to me, he messaged me on Facebook, and I was like, maybe
for those who don't know, tell them who Nick Vassos is.
Yeah, Nick Vassos is the news guy on Fox 4 News. And he reached out to me and said, man, I've been following you for about 6 months. He said, I've been watching you for about 6 months, and I love what you do. I love what you say. I stand behind what you said. And he just kind of started breaking it down. And I'm all like, this ain't Nick Vassos. So I'm like, because I watch Fox 4 every morning. I watch Fox 4 all the time just to kind of get a feel of what's moving around me and stuff like that. And I was like, man, that's cool. And he was like, would you mind coming in for an interview?
Come on,
and I was like, man, I was sitting there like, yeah, I'm that's fine. And then when I got in there, he was all like, oh man, you like a celebrity to me. I'm like, you're a celebrity to me. Like, I'm just an average guy on social media, just talking and trying to get the message out. And then he talked to me. He's like, man, I really appreciate what you're doing and stuff like that. And once I got to that point, I'm still humble. I'm not like, oh man, I'm big, because I don't see it like that. It's like,
not
now
about the accolades,
since I've been doing
your message is getting out, and that feels, and you deserve to feel good about that.
Yeah. And then it's like, when I get out now and I be noticed by a lot of people. Like, me and my family be in Walmart, or we'd be out somewhere, and they'd be like, hey, somebody would say Jay, and I look and be like, I had no clue who these people are.
That part.
I had no clue. Yeah, but they know me and my family through social media because of the brand. And at that point, it's like, man, I mean, the traction, it feels good, but believe it or not, as good as it look, it's hard because a lot of people do not support positivity. Yeah. And I know you be on social media, you can see it. I mean, if I put a fight video up, oh, I'm going viral.
Right.
Or I'm
Right.
gonna get 10K views. I'm gonna get this. I
Right.
don't look at the views. I don't care about the views. But it's frustrating when you got a positive message over here. If you're not a celebrity, you're not getting the respect of the view. But if I put a fight video or some negative content, oh, I'm getting all the support. Oh, they like, look at this. So they sharing it. And I always tell people, all you're doing is promoting negativity. Even though you think, oh, I'm not promoting it. I'm like, you are, because you shared it to a friend and gave them more views.
Somebody
and
that
I'm
did
like, I
not
don't
know about it, now they're aware of it and they're going to share it. And I feel
yeah.
what you're saying on that. I really feel what you're saying on that.
Positive,
go ahead.
When you do the positive stuff, man, don't nobody be like, hey, that's a good message, let me share it. They'll just like it. They'll just be like, oh, okay. And I'm like, to each his own, but social media, you to really be successful, you got to be super popular. You got to be super popular. And as weird as it sounds, you can be the positive popular people was already popular. You know what I'm saying? The people that's the people that's positive, trying to level up to that point, you got to be either in the streets, you got to be in front of the negative people, so people just turn, so you'll turn into a virus to them, so that they can be, look at this. That's why people get on social media and be doing dumb stuff. They do ignorant stuff just for attention, and then what do? Man, let me show you this video they did, and then there you go, boom, 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 boom.
And that's what I feel about it. It's just like for me, even with this show, like I tell people all the time, the show isn't for me. The show is about giving people their kudos and flowers, but giving people a voice who, no matter how big you are or where you're starting from, is to go ahead and give you your accolades and give you the opportunity to share, so people actually get to know and understand the person that you are. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if you're doing something positive, like you said, think first, react second. I was just like, that makes sense. It makes sense for me, especially at the time, because I think that was right before my brother was murdered. And I was just coming into the city to see my family because, you know, not a lot of them come here. So I'm like, well, I can spend this $300 and go anywhere, but I'm coming to Kansas City. Like, I'm going to just come and see my folks. And like I said, I had seen you on social media because I think little James, well, I can't call him little James, here, grown man. But James, I seen James was like my bro. And I was like, oh, okay. So you know James, so you good people.
Yeah. That's like that's my brother too.
Absolutely. I grew up right around the corner from him. He always been a solid dude. So tell me this, have you always been a Chiefs maniac? Because I mean, like I said, Mr. Let's Go, before Let's Go was a thing, you're the king of the selfie joint here talking about let's go.
You see the background, KC. You see the red and yellow wall.
Already.
Red and yellow wall.
You need to throw a little Denver Bronco up there, a little bit, just a little bit. Represent Neil. Neil Smith is the only reason why. Neil Smith. That's the reason why I go back and forth.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as I can remember, honestly, like I said, I played football. I done all that, but I wasn't big on TV. I was more out. You know what I mean? I was like out doing stuff in the streets, doing, you know what I mean, doing stuff I shouldn't be doing, but I wasn't actively sitting down focused on nothing on the TV unless I was playing a video game or something real quick, or I was playing basketball in the neighborhood or playing football or doing something. But when I graduated high school, you know, when you start becoming an adult, you start finding other things to focus on. I always loved Kansas City, so it's not like, oh, I didn't care about football, but I played the football, but I never really been like, I'm gonna go home and watch the game. I don't even remember watching the games when I was younger because I was so actively outside and doing everything else. So I was like, I'll catch it or we'll talk about it. But then I never really sat and be like, oh, you see that game yesterday? Nah, I was more playing it than watching it. So then, man, once I got a little older and I got my apartment and started leveling up and then working and everything, I was like, man, I started really tapping in because now I'm structured. I'm an adult. So I'm like, I'm gonna sit at home Sunday. I'm gonna relax, clean up the house, cook a little bit, and then I think I want to say I really started watching getting deep in the Chiefs when I would say probably 11th to 12th grade, because then I was like, man, I was at the point trying not to be homeless, so it made me sit down instead of being actively running around doing so much. So that's when I really started focusing on the Chiefs, man. And ever since then, it just been, and like I said, I always been Kansas City. It just the Chiefs. Once I really tapped in and really was like as an adult, I'm like, man, it's crazy. I'm bleeding now.
Well, brother, I can tell you tapped in because it ain't a day that goes by or a touchdown will go by during the season. I'm like, okay, you may not be active all the time, but Sunday you be active as hell, boy. You are activator out there.
I try, man. Win, lose, or draw, man. I'm always a cheat. People always, you got people that's a part-time fan when we win, and then jump off when we lose. I'm the win, lose, or draw. I'm in.
Absolutely.
So it don't matter. Don't matter what the score is. Don't matter none of that. Hey, they sad. I'm sad. They happy. I'm happy.
And shout out to the Chiefs for letting Kimball come in that joint. I just seen Kimball last week, and he's the reason why I paid attention to the fullback position between him and Mike Allstott. Beautiful people, beautiful games. But Kimball, shout out to the Chiefs for putting him into the Hall of Fame because he deserves it. Even though he look like he can play right now, he's one of the only dudes that I know ain't got no body fat at all.
Right.
Dude, straight muscle.
Man. And then since I've been watching the Chiefs, man, I do all the videos and I'm in Chiefs groups. Patrick Mahomes' dad, his wife reached out to me and found me on social media. And then she reached out to me and found me. And I'm like, man, that's up. So I was supposed to meet them at the Chiefs Stadium after one game. Mm-hmm. But just so happened that game we lost. So she hit me up and was like, okay, right now it's a bad time.
We happy with him or we sad with him?
I'm like, I'm sad too, so I'm fine. I'm cool. So she was like, she said, I want to reach out to you on the next home game. And she contacted me the next home game. And then Pat Mahomes was like, man, I want to start wearing your gear. So I'm like, oh, I'm all for it. So I started contacting them, got their contact, they got my contact. And then I talk to them all the time, man, on season, in season, out season. So, I mean, they real good people, man. And shout out to Pat Mahomes and the family, man. Pat Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes. I know his mom don't like nobody calling him Pat because of Pops, but Patrick Mahomes, Pat Mahomes, shout out to y'all. Teresa Mahomes, shout out to everybody who showed me some love on the KC Kingdom. And they reach out to me, man. They show me much love on my KC gear, Red Kingdom gear, anything that I had, man. They reach out to me. I see you. I see you. I see you. Yeah, they show me love, man. And that felt real good when I looked up and they sent me the picture, the video when Patrick Mahomes went up to his dad and shook his hand, man. And he had the hoodie on. He had my hoodie on at the time.
Right.
I was like,
that's
man,
what I was talking about.
Yeah, he wore one hoodie when we won the Super Bowl. He said the game we was losing when we was down so much and we came all the way back and won. He said, man, I had your hoodie on in that game. And he said, I'm wearing this hoodie for the rest of the season until we win the Super Bowl. We won the Super Bowl. And we won the Super Bowl. And the game he wore, we was down by like 3 or 4 touchdowns. I was like, oh, it's over. He ain't gonna wear this hoodie no more. I said it's over because he real superstitious, man.
No, not the brand.
I was like, I'm at home like, oh my God. He real superstitious. But then we came back and won, and he was like, man, I'm rocking this to the end. And he wore it all season, and we won that Super Bowl that year.
And I think it's so interesting, man. Number one, that you've been so transparent, even leaving from who you are as a person to where you are now. It's levels, it's texture to a human being, and you'll never know until you take the time to really get to know them, or even if they want to share it. And I just think that's a testimony for you as far as your character, integrity, and more. I know that the kids are actively in sports. I guess the question I have for you is, where would you like to see things go from here on out? What kind of legacy would you like to leave, not only for your family, but in the community?
The biggest thing, man, like a lot of people, like I just honestly, I think like that, but I don't, you know what I'm saying? I kind of live life and let it be, you know what I'm saying? And my biggest thing inside of my walls of my home, man, I want to make sure, like I said, I never had the father figure, never had that. I always had my mom there, you know what I mean? So I'm like, the biggest thing that I want to leave is to make sure that people understand I'm not looking for celebrity status. I'm not looking for none of that. I just want people that I can reach, that I can interact with people, man. It's random people that I see and I just, you know what I mean, openly communicate, help them out. If I see them out of pocket, I step in. But I just want people to understand that life is what you make it. I mean, life can be anything, but people be all upset and depressed and everything. I'm like, if it's that bad, make a change. Like, do something different. You know what I'm saying? Don't just settle, because I grew up without. I'm not saying I got a lot of money and nothing, but I'm not struggling. I'm not sad. I'm not emo. We human. You know what I mean? We human. We got elevators. Right. We go up and down. But at the same time, man, I just want people to understand, live life, man. You only get one. Some people get lucky and get a spare, but that's a rare thing, man. So live life, man. Everybody that's in the inner city, man, shout out to everybody out there that's down there. And like I said, I don't knock people for what they do, but just understand what comes with it. So when you out living a corrupt lifestyle by choice, you know what I'm saying, by choice, and not just being stuck in it, or you trying to survive it, that's different. But when you choose to go be a part of something because, oh, I want to be this or I want to be that, understand what comes with it. If you want to be a good guy, understand what comes with being a good guy. Understand, because without good and bad, man, there is no world. You know what I mean? So it's always a good person, always a bad person. And people always say black people this, Caucasian people that, all these different. I'm like, every race, every culture has good and bad. So ain't no point in sitting here trying to point a finger at which is which. We all have good and bad. So I just want unity, man. Everybody come together, enjoy life, live life. And the only way we're gonna slow down all this violence is that people start focusing on themselves and the next generation. So I mean, we can sit here and bump heads all day long, but if we don't start saying, if we don't start driving and walking the right lane so that our next generation can do it, man, it ain't gonna never change. It ain't gonna never change. That's the biggest thing. And I try to lead by example, and I ain't perfect, and I never be perfect, but I'm gonna tell you now, and I try my best to do everything in my power to get the next person to look at me and understand that I need to do the right thing, instead of saying, oh, if they want to do what I do, they're going to do the right thing. That's my thing. Absolutely, so if they want to follow my path, follow my footsteps, they going to do the right thing. I'm not going to say, yeah, look what I'm doing, go do that. And then you don't hurt somebody else or hurt somebody else's kids or their structure, or I'm not doing that. I'm not for that. Like I said, in the past, I was young and dumb, but I'm wise now.
Okay, and I want people to understand, even though this is the manly man that you hear talking, the big man talking, he even got a young ladies clothing line for the ladies. Tell us a little bit how that got started.
Man, the way that started, like I was saying, Self-Made Gear, I created that to promote a positive lifestyle and to support unity and peace. And I've been doing that, like I said, even if I don't sell a shirt, I don't do that. Even if I shut Self-Made Gear down, I'm still gonna make it for myself, because I'm still passing my message. That's the main thing, man. So when I was doing that, I was like, okay, the Self-Made Gear is going, but it's a unisex brand. So the majority of the people that support, because I get so many dudes that I know, people I grew up with, family. Oh man, I like that, but they don't support it. They don't be like, oh, I'm gonna buy it, I'm gonna rock with you, I'm gonna rock. They don't do it. They be like, oh, I'm gonna start my own. But they just because you start your own don't mean you can't support the next opportunity, the next person. Right. So I'm like, when I started doing that, I'm like, the majority of the people that support me are women. And it's weird because women shop more than men, which I get that. But women shop more than men. And the message that I reach out to the fellas is the same concept. But I said, I want to do something for women so they can have something in their own lane. I got 3 girls. So I'm like, at that point, that like the future, same thing. I need to lead something for them. Right. So if I can create this brand, for women, I want to do the same for them and leave something for them. If it take off and be successful, if not, it is what it is. I'm trying. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So the whole movement with the Pink Dove collection is the dove bird actually symbolizes peace. The color pink is for women. So I put it together, Pink Dove collection, peace for women. So when women wear it, they support peace and unity through the women's brand. So that was the purpose of creating the Pink Dove collection. And then I do a lot of modeling. Yeah, appreciate it. I do a lot of modeling, so I do a lot of networking, so that a lot of amateur models, people, just so they can get exposure and I can help promote and then do the same thing. And that's why I did the collection. So it'll be a collection, a group of people, and it'll be a collection, a group of models, and collection, a group of products. So it's like I'm slowly getting that going. I had that ready sitting back in a while, but I said I want to really start driving. So I just started really, really, really pressing it. That's why a lot of people starting to see it. So I'm really starting to press that like towards the middle of last year.
Yeah, because I started seeing more and more. I was like, okay, so he's branching out on that. That's a beautiful thing. So this segment of the show is truly up to you. I would love to open the floor for you to give shout outs or anything that's on your mind as far as people in the town or even people from out of town. Give a shout out to the people that inspire you. Just period, whether they know it or don't, or it don't even have to be a lot of people, just from what you feel in your heart.
Yeah. All right. So to do that, I don't want to put names because when I do that, I don't want to leave nobody out. That's one thing I really don't want to do, because it's so much to it. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a lot of people, but it's a lot of core people. And in the moment, I don't want to be like, boom, 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 and I'll be like, I forgot somebody. So I just want to say, man, shout out to everybody who follow me on social media. Shout out to everybody who gave me the opportunity just to wear my product. you know what I mean, just to share my product, just to share my posts. Anybody that share anything, anybody word of mouth, man, you out and about. I got people that send me pictures of people wearing it. You know what I mean? And that's and I appreciate that to the bottom of my heart, man. Like I said, I'm small. I'm small. Other people that don't know me think I'm bigger than what I am, but I'm like, I'm a humble guy. I'm not all like, oh, I'm getting rich. Nah, I'm not. I'm far from that. I'm just an average guy. I'd rather get rich with my message and let all the other stuff kind of come together. So, man, shout out to everybody who showed me so much love. A big shout out, Fox 4, Patrick Mahomes, Trisha Mahomes. I might be saying your name wrong, Trisha, but Trisha, sorry about that. But shout out to the whole Mahomes family, man. Everybody that showed me love on Instagram, that rock my product. Shout out to everybody on all my platforms, man, that really take the time. Because I got people that follow that don't like, don't share, don't support. But shout out to everybody who showed me so much love, man. Fox 4, like I said, the Chiefs, everybody Chiefs in general. You know what I mean? Chiefs in general, everybody who rock with me, man. And then one big shout out to my wife and my kids, man. They hold me down. You know what I mean? They really hold me down and keep me grounded, keep me going, and keep me on the right lane. So shout out to all that, man. Shout out to you for getting me on this platform, man.
Hey, it was a no-brainer for me. Like I literally, like I told you, when I found you, I'm like, bruh, I didn't even know you wasn't on my account. That's why I had to add you. That's why I said, okay, because I had been missing for like the last 6 months and was like, I don't see him anywhere. So that's why I dug it up. It was like, okay, I didn't have you on there. So that's my bad. And I appreciate you, like I said, for coming on the show because I believe in your product. I believe in who you are. And after hearing this interview and just rapping with you for a second, it makes me appreciate you even more as an individual. Because like I said, there's too many humans in the world, but there's not enough humane people. And we need people that is willing to stick themselves out and believe in what they go for and go from there.
Right.
It was one more thing. I forgot what I was about to ask you. Oh, let everybody know your social media platforms that you would like to know. And then I'm going to add those to the bio. So if they want to find you or look up your product or anything like that, where can they find you at on social media?
All right, on social media, I got quite a few. So I'm going to make it easy, but they all the same. All right, so on Facebook, you can follow me at J Davis. Also, I have Facebook groups, which is the Pink Dove Collection group. And then I also have SelfMadeGear group, the SelfMadeGear group. And then I have another group that's called the Positive Circle. The Positive Circle, I created a group so that I could put multiple positive people in one room, and then we can all chat and kind of promote and uplift each other daily. And then also on Instagram, you can follow me at SelfMadeGear on Instagram. You can follow me at J Davis on Instagram. You can follow me at the Pink Dove Collection on Instagram also. And like I said, all the platforms, just search me on any platform, SelfMadeGear, J Davis, and the Pink Dove Collection. And you'll find me on any of them platforms. TikToks, I'm all on it. So
my niece got me doing TikTok, talking about, I said, oh, yeah, man, I'm getting too old. Wait a minute. You got to edit
I'm
this.
Still shy about that. Hey, I'm getting there. My girls be trying to get me there. I'm getting a little bit. I'm still learning the lingo. So I'm getting there.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, young brother, I ain't gonna occupy too much of the time. Like I said, again, it was a blessing to have you on the show. Again, this is the 3% show where I believe that people will tell you 97% of their truth, and that's admirable as long as it's real. But as you can tell, the 3% unspoken holds power in their life. It can be the best of the best or the worst of the worst, but it can also drive you and put you in a position where you want to be. So I just appreciate this brother Jay Davis for being on the show more than anything. Hopefully we'll be able to do some more shows. If you have any kind of up and coming events or anything, please, by all means, you have the green light to use my plateau. I mean, as far as my services here on this podcast, because like I said, I believe in giving people their flowers now so they can go ahead and progress and grow later on, for real.
Yeah.
All right, well, if you hold on.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. If you hold on for 1 second, we're about to end this joint. Hey, I'm going to see y'all later, 913 all day. That 3%, get it popping. Hold on for 1 second, brother. I got you.
Okay.